question from James, and he wants to know what's going wrong with his smart cutout. He's using smart cutout, and it's not working for him. So let's go ahead and play that and listen to what he says.
Okay, if you see right here, I did the AI smart cutout, and it's all cut out nice and neat. I came down here and I dropped the black for the black background. Now when I go to play it, it doesn't work.
Okay, let's examine what went wrong for James, or what he just missed completing. The first thing we want to note is that most of us are using the default layout, but he is using the classic layout, so we will go ahead and switch over to that. It'll be the same stuff, but our choices will be just located over in this pane here. Okay, so let's put this down here on the track for a second, and let's just expand a little bit. So there are two ways that you can remove the background rather quickly. If you're just dealing with a person or people, it's easier to use the AI portrait cutout. If you're dealing with an object or a person and more than just the person, as James is, where he has a table, then the smart cutout is probably the better option. But let's just demonstrate the first option. And in this classic mode, in order to get up the edit pane, we need to double click on the clip. We double click on it, we go over to video, and we see AI matting is what it's called now. And here is the AI portrait cutout. Now the AI portrait cutout will do two things. It will cut it out and it will apply it to the entire clip. And you'll notice that there's a little processing it tells you how far along it is. So let's just look at that real quickly. Okay, you'll notice that it cut it out, and you'll notice more importantly as we go along there, it identified the people and it cut them out very nicely, so we didn't have to do anything to the rest of the clip. All right, let's get rid of this for the time being. We don't need that. And let's drag in a different clip here. It's a little bit longer. Well, a few seconds longer. I suppose we can make it shorter just to make it go faster. All right. We could probably just do the AI portrait cutout as well on this, but let's use what James was using, which is the smart cutout. And so in the classic mode, we double click on it, and we get up here. We're not going to use the AI portrait cutout. We're going to use the smart cutout. And the smart cutout, you have to do three things when you're working with a video clip. You have to activate it, and then you have to actually click to start it, which brings up the masking screen. And this is where we actually draw the mask on the object that we want to track. So one thing that you'd want to do with this is look for probably your best frame where the person is completely within there. And then next thing we want to do is you want to select it. Now let's just review the tools here. There is the pencil, which is the eraser tool. I used to call it smart brush. And then there's the eraser, which allows you to eliminate if too much was selected. The hand tool is for moving the object around. And you notice I can't move anything around when it's on the fit. But if I was to go to 100%, I could use the hand now to center what I'm looking for. And I can choose various levels of fit. In fact, I don't even have to select this. I can hold down the control key and use the scroll button on the mouse and just adjust it to what exactly it is that I want to work on. And the idea is that you want to get as close to whatever it is you're working on so you can create the most detail. let's go ahead and select something. Now the selection process is fairly easy. You don't have to be very exact. However, it is probably good to kind of adjust your brush size. You don't want to grab too much. But with this, you just make a general outline of the object that you're trying to get. And we have a problem here in the sense that the skis are covered by snow. And also he has these narrow poles here. Okay, so we had switched to the checkered background, or like I said, you could have switched to the black background. And sometimes it's easier to see when you're fine-tuning whatever it is that you want to follow. So in this case, let's use the eraser, and let's zoom in. And I'm not going to do this perfectly because that's not what this is about. You can spend the time doing this. The eraser tool, unlike the selection tool, the brush, only erases what you cover. In other words, you can't just draw a circle around what it is that you want to delete. You have to actually go over it. So if you have a tiny brush and you think you're doing good like this, you're going to end up leaving some stuff in there. Okay, we're not going to spend too much time on this part of the process because that's not really James's question. Let's go back to the fit. And now James's question was simply this. He applied his mask, and we can go back to the regular one here. We can see here is the mask. But as soon as he moved off of this frame, everything came back. It is more noticeable right here. If we have this, and let's go back to here, and here the background is removed, and as soon as we move off of it, the background is back. So the reason is very simple. You have applied a mask to a single frame. That's it. Doesn't matter if you go this way or you go that way. It's only applied to that single frame in there. But you want it to apply to the whole clip, which is what James is asking about. And the way to do that is you have to go up into the advanced mode. The advanced mode allows you to take the mask that you have applied right here and either apply it to everything going forward, everything going backwards, or both directions. In other words, if you click this button, it's going to track this way, and then it's going to track that way. If you click this button, it is only going to track this way. If you're going to click this button, it's only going to track that way. And these two buttons is if you have multiple keyframes on your clip, these will track between the clips. Okay, you go between one clip and then the other clip. I'm not going to get into detail on that. You can experiment with that. Basically, James just wants to know how can he apply this frame to the rest of the clip. And just simply do this and watch the playhead go this way, and when it gets down to here, it will track the other way. And there we go. We have now tracked it in both directions. Okay, and we have solved James's problem. As long as we're looking at it, why don't we just explore a couple of other tools? And one of them is, okay, let's go back here on the brush. And we got edge thickness and edge feathering. And let's just zoom in on our particular frame here. And at this point, it probably is better to switch over to the black background mode because you can see more clearly the effect of it. If you increase the edge thickness, you will notice that there will be more included around the person using your basic mask that you started with. Another way, sometimes you might go a little bit wide, but you don't really want this border around it. So that's when you use the edge feathering. You can just simply feather it a little bit, and you can soften that so that whatever you put below this particular object that you're tracking looks a little smoother. Now you will see on some YouTube videos and in the news that they actually have a border around a person, and that's this one right here. And you can, if you use the pink diamond, then you're going to incur an additional fee. But if you use one of these ones here, this one's purple, this one's white, these are free. So we can apply that. And so now we have basically a white frame applied around the person. And that in itself can also be blurred or feathered, or the size can be increased or decreased, whatever you want. So that's, in fact, look at that. They even have opacity. So you can play around with that, and you can even have a gradient color and so forth, and all these other things to go with it. But that's a tool we weren't really going to go into. But in order to get everything on the clip, you have to be in the advanced mode, and you have to apply the mask to all of the other frames in the clip. And then when you're done, go ahead and hit the apply, and now you've got exactly what you wanted. And by the way, George, you don't need to put a black background underneath there. I'm going to take the magnetic timeline off. I'm going to scoot it up one here. I'm going to go into the stock media. And let's see here, unfortunately here, let's see, basic. I'm going to switch over, George, because I don't play in classic anymore. I used to. I'm going to use the default, and I'm going to choose stock media, and I'm just going to drag this down, this background down here. This is a moving background, and we'll just keep that. And now our person is, so this is how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to put, and when you do a cutout, you're supposed to put something else underneath it. Putting just the black color in there, you don't need to do that, because if you have nothing underneath it, it's going to be a black color. Okay, that's enough for this one.